Well, the KZN Finance MEC Francois Rodgers now joins us to have that conversation. He was in court yesterday as well. MEC, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. At this particular moment, is Ithala operating and still being able to pay out people who try to withdraw money?
Morning, Eldrin, and good morning to your viewers. No, Ithala is not operating. As we heard in court yesterday, the Repayment Administrator has systematically shut down every single operation in the bank. So Ithala is a lame duck or hamstrung, if you'd like to call it that. Depositors cannot access their money. Ithala is unable to pay its creditors, also unable to pay its staff. So it's not functioning in any form.
Yeah, so it's not functioning in any form, even though there was that High Court decision last year. Why couldn't the government try and see if it can get the court to allow it to continue with the operations? Well, the Repayment Authority then starts with the process of appealing, because there is some provision in our legal jurisprudence for something like that.
So from my perspective, this particular entity doesn't fall under Treasury, but I have been involved since last year with the Minister of Finance, looking at ways that we can secure a guarantee or a loan that will satisfy the Repayment Authority for the depositors book. And that has progressed to the point where the Minister has agreed with us. We heard that in court yesterday. Now it remains for National Treasury to convene a loans committee, which will then consider the application, and we can proceed from there. That is the best way to expedite this. And then, as I heard in your insert, what I said was until Ithala receives some form of licensing or permission to continue trading, that a commercial bank take over the depositors book. And that is the process we're trying to facilitate so that we can allay the fears of the Repayment Administrator.
Okay, so what's stopping you from getting this commercial bank to take over the depositors book?
Well, that's, again, a process, and this is where there are lots of questions and not enough answers. This is a process that I was involved in last year, where we engaged 2 or 3 of our commercial banks, and we were well down the line of trying to facilitate them taking over the deposit book of Ithala. Suddenly, we were stonewalled by those commercial banks who had told us that the RA and the PA had advised them not to continue any formal negotiations down this road.
Sure. The Loans Committee meeting as well, what's the role of the DG in all of this, and how quickly can this be expedited?
Well, this is where what frustrates me immensely, because the Minister and I have had numerous, and we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's. All of the legal requirements I have submitted. It now remains with the National Treasury, who is run by the DG. And I would imagine the DG is the person that needs to convene the Loans Committee so that we can deal with this application. We've been told the Loans Committee was going to sit a month ago. Nothing has happened. And it's most frustrating. And we could solve this problem and stop spending hours and days in courts.
Yeah, what was the last communication with the DG or Treasury around this particular meeting of the Loans Committee?
Look, it's not protocol for me to engage the DG. My HOD had indicated that she was going to contact the DG yesterday after the court to try and ascertain where the stand was.
Yeah. In the meantime, social grant beneficiaries, as an example, some of the most vulnerable people, are taking strain.
Look, my understanding, and I think now it's been fully implemented, that SASSA grants are no longer paid into the Ithala structures, but are being paid into another commercial bank, and that those beneficiaries are able to access their funds. That, of course, leads to another question. Another commercial bank was appointed. We're not sure who appointed it and how they accessed all the Ithala information. which is obviously protected information. But be that as it may, my understanding is that grant beneficiaries do now have access to their funds, but not through Ithala.
Yeah, which is strange on one end. So there's the offboarding of the beneficiaries, SASSA beneficiaries through another commercial bank. But what you are asking for another commercial bank to take on the depositors book, and that's not seeing the light of day.
Not at all. That's why I keep coming back to there are more questions than answers. Last year in September, I tried to facilitate a meeting between the PA, RA, Ithala, and the Department of Economic Development. And I kept hearing this narrative from the RA that Ithala is corrupt, they're politicians who are borrowing money, a whole lot of allegations, unfounded. And when I asked for information, substantiated information, I was told, no, the matter's sub judice, they cannot pass any information on. So, more questions than answers.
More questions and no answers, actually. Thank you so much. Francois Rodgers there, KZN Finance MEC.